You don't know what betrayal tastes like until you're reading a court order to seize your life's work, signed by your own blood. The courier envelope was thick, legal weight. I tore it open in the lobby of my company's new headquarters, the scent of fresh paint and possibility still hanging in the air. My vision tunneled. Below the legalities, the petitioner, Chandler Global Holdings LLC, and below that, the managing member, Robert Chandler, my brother. The claim debt, $4.7 million for a seed investment and convertible loan dated 2013. The documentation attached showed my signature. It was a flawless forgery. I didn't feel rage. I felt a cold, precise click in my mind like a vault door sealing shut. Robert had finally made his move. And he'd chosen the week we were finalizing the Series C funding round that would value Aurora at $850 million. My CFO, Lena, found me statue still by the elevators. Maya, what is it? I handed her the packet, her face drained of color. This is impossible. We have no debt to Chandler Global. Our cap table is clean. He's fabricating it, I said, my voice unnaturally calm. He's using a 10-year-old signature from a family loan document for my graduate tuition. He's backdated a phantom investment. But why? The due diligence from our investors will expose this in hours. Hours are all he needs, I said, walking toward my office, the notice crumpling in my fist. If this filing becomes public record before our funding closes, it triggers a material adverse change clause. The investors can walk. The valuation collapses. He's not trying to collect a debt. He's trying to trigger a death spiral. I reached my desk, overlooking the Austin skyline. On the wall was a framed photo. My brother Robert and I, aged 10 and 8, building a treehouse. His arm was around me. We looked like allies. That was before the inheritance. Before my father's will left the family's venture capital firm to Robert, the steady hand, and left me with a trust fund to pursue her academic interests. Before I used that trust to bootstrap Aurora out of my PhD research, and before Robert's firm suffered 3 catastrophic losses in a row. He'd watched from across the canyon of our estrangement as I built a fortress. Now, he was launching one final, fraudulent assault to claim it. I opened my safe, not the digital one, but the physical steel box behind the false wall panel. Inside were not company secrets, but family artifacts. The original copy of my father's will, a stack of Robert's childhood letters promising to always look out for me, and a single unmarked USB drive. I inserted it into a laptop that had never touched the company network. The screen glowed to life, displaying a file directory named Contingency-R. My brother thought he was a financier, but I was a cryptographer, and 10 years ago, the night our father died, I began encrypting everything. My name is Dr. Maya Chandler. I built Aurora Cybernetics on 2 principles: zero trust architecture and radical transparency. Every line of code in our quantum-resistant encryption platform was auditable, clean, and mine. My family operated on opposite principles: opacity and hierarchy. Robert was the heir. I was the brainy one, useful for solving tricky math problems at dinner parties, but not to be trusted with the family business. My father's dismissal was a constant, low-grade hum. Stick to theory, Maya. Leave the practical matters to Robert. The practical matter was a $300 million venture fund. Robert ran it into the ground through a series of ego-driven, flashy investments in crypto scams and metaverse real estate. Meanwhile, I took my $2 million trust fund and the algorithm I developed in my Stanford dissertation, a method for sealing data in a way that even quantum computers couldn't crack, and started Aurora. For 7 years, I was a ghost to them, a footnote. Maya still tinkering with her startup, Robert would tell associates. Then we landed the contract with the Department of Energy to harden the national power grid. The $200 million deal made headlines. My photo was in Forbes. The cryptographer guarding America's grid. Robert's firm, Chandler Ventures, was failing. His limited partners were demanding their capital back. He needed a win, or a lifeboat. He reached out. "Let's merge," he said, over a stiff lunch. Chandler Ventures brings its prestigious name, its network. Aurora brings the technology. We'll call it Chandler Aurora. You'll be CTO. "I'm CEO," I corrected. "Titles can be negotiated, but the Chandler name should lead. It carries weight." "The Chandler name carries debt," I said. "I've seen your books, Robert. You're insolvent. You're not offering a merger. You're asking for a bailout." He'd left in a cold fury. That was 6 months ago. The foreclosure notice was his counteroffer. But Robert made one fatal mistake. He assumed my transparency was naivete. He didn't understand that my zero trust protocol applied to people too, especially family. The USB drive contained my private encrypted ledger, not of Aurora, but of Chandler Ventures. For years, using the backdoor access I'd built into our shared family office servers, a system I'd designed as a teenager, I'd quietly copied every transaction, every email, every hidden transfer. I found the proof I needed in a folder dated 2 weeks prior. An email from Robert to his lawyer: "File the Aurora petition on the 15th. The press will pick up the family dispute angle. Her investors will get spooked. Once the funding round collapses, we can table a distressed asset purchase. Get the property for pennies." He wasn't just filing a fraudulent claim, he was orchestrating a short attack on my own company. I compiled my evidence with the cold efficiency of my training. The forged loan document, juxtaposed with the real tuition agreement showing a gift, not a loan. The metadata from the digital file showing creation dates last month. And the crown jewel, bank records from Chandler Ventures showing a $500,000 transfer to a forensic document consultant in Belize, followed by the drafted foreclosure filing. This wasn't a family dispute. It was securities fraud. I didn't send it to my lawyer first. I uploaded it to a blockchain timestamping service, creating an immutable public record of the evidence that could not be altered or deleted. Then I encrypted it with a key that would release to 3 major news outlets and the SEC if my biometrics registered a panic state or failed to reset a 48-hour dead man switch. I was not building a legal defense. I was building a deadfall trap. And Robert had just sprung it. The court hearing was held in a sterile federal building. Robert arrived with our mother on his arm. She wore a look of pained disappointment aimed at me. The narrative was clear: the ungrateful daughter refusing to repay her brother's generosity. Robert's lawyer, a slick litigator named Dryden, presented the forged documents with theatrical gravitas. "A clear debt, Your Honor. A family loan that fueled the defendant's initial research. Now, with the defendant's company worth nearly $1 billion, she refuses to honor her obligations, leaving my client no choice but to seek judicial remedy." Judge Wilkins, a no-nonsense former prosecutor, peered over his glasses. "Dr. Chandler, this is a substantial claim. Your brother asserts he funded your start." "He did not, Your Honor," I said, standing. "The document is a forgery. The signature is lifted from a 2013 gift letter from my graduate tuition, which I have here." I handed the original to the clerk. "A gift is not a loan," the judge mused. "Furthermore," I continued, "the petitioner, Chandler Global Holdings, is a shell entity created last month. Its sole asset is this fraudulent claim. This isn't an attempt to collect a debt. It's an attempt to manipulate the valuation of my company ahead of a major financing round. I have evidence of intent." Dryden objected. "Preposterous. This is a smear campaign to avoid a legitimate debt." Judge Wilkins held up a hand. "I'll allow it, but be brief, Dr. Chandler." I connected my laptop to the courtroom display. I showed only 2 slides. Slide 1, a side-by-side comparison. the forged loan document, and the genuine gift letter. A red circle highlighted the identical, pixel-perfect signature. Forensic analysis confirms the signature is a digital lift. The metadata for the loan document shows it was created in Adobe Illustrator 47 days ago. Slide 2. A flowchart. The $500,000 transfer from Chandler Ventures to the Belizean consultant. An email from the consultant with the subject line, "Draft foreclosure docs for Aurora per your specs." This payment, I said, occurred 3 days before the alleged default notice was sent. They paid for the forgery before they even pretended to ask for repayment. The courtroom was silent. Robert had gone pale. My mother was staring at him, her hand over her mouth. Judge Wilkins leaned forward. "Mr. Dryden, can you explain this payment?" Dryden was floundering. "My client's financial dealings are not the issue here. They are if they demonstrate a conspiracy to file a fraudulent instrument," the judge snapped. He turned to me. "Dr. Chandler, you allege this is a market manipulation scheme. That's a serious SEC matter." "It is, Your Honor, which is why at 9 a.m. this morning I filed a whistleblower disclosure with the Securities and Exchange Commission containing all evidence. The case number is on the screen." I had not just defended, I had counterattacked on a federal level. Robert shot to his feet. "She's lying. This is all fabricated." "Then you'll have no problem providing Chandler Ventures full books and records to the SEC, I said quietly, "including the records for the Sybil Fund and the Oasis Partners accounts in the Caymans." The blood drained from his face. Those were the hidden accounts where he'd stashed his failing firm's remaining capital, accounts I'd found in my decade-long digital excavation. Judge Wilkins saw the guilt plainly. He dismissed the foreclosure petition with prejudice. Then he did something extraordinary. He looked at Robert and said, "I am forwarding this transcript to the U.S. Attorney's Office for the Southern District of New York. Good luck, Mr. Chandler." The gavel fell. The sound was not an ending, but a beginning. The aftermath was a chain reaction of collapsing facades. The SEC launched a formal investigation into Chandler Ventures for securities fraud and market manipulation. Robert's limited partners, seeing the writing on the wall, initiated a mass withdrawal. The fund was liquidated. The Wall Street Journal piece was devastating. From heir to target, how a venture scion tried to sink his sister's unicorn. It detailed the forged documents, the Belize payment, the hidden Cayman accounts. My mother came to my office. She looked old. "Maya, he's your brother. He's lost everything. Can't you intervene with the SEC?" "Intervene?" I repeated. "He tried to destroy Aurora. He committed felonies. He is facing the consequences of his own actions." "But the family name?" "The family name was a liability I chose not to carry. You and Dad built that name on the idea that Robert was the heir. You gave him everything. You gave me a check. You made your choice. Now live with it." She left, and I felt nothing. The cord had been cut long ago. The final reckoning was not in a courtroom, but in a boardroom. The Series C funding closed not at $850 million, but at a higher valuation of $1.1 billion. The investors said our handling of the fraudulent attack demonstrated resilience and impeccable governance. Our stock, when we eventually IPO'd, would have a bulletproof story. Robert accepted a plea deal. 2 counts of wire fraud, 1 count of conspiracy. He served 18 months in a white-collar facility. He was disbarred from the financial industry for life. The day he was sentenced, I was in Silicon Valley announcing Aurora's new partnership with NASA to develop secure communications for deep space missions. A reporter asked about my brother. I have no comment on that matter. My focus is on building systems that can withstand any attack. The past is encrypted. The future is what we're coding now. Aurora Cybernetics now guards the data of governments, hospitals, and financial institutions. We are the vault. I am the keymaster. I live in a glass house in the hills. Not as a trophy, but as a statement. I have nothing to hide. The only locked room is my daughter's nursery. Isla is 3. She has my focus and her father's laugh. She knows her Uncle Robert as a man in a photograph who made very bad choices. She knows her grandmother as a woman who sends presents but never visits. She is surrounded by a chosen family. Lena, her godmother, my team of engineers who are more like siblings, our security chief, a former Marine who would walk into fire for us. Last month, I received a letter from Robert, forwarded by his parole officer. It was not an apology. It was a question. When did you start keeping records on me? Was it when Dad died? Or earlier? I wrote back the truth. The night you told me I wasn't cut out for the real world. The night I decided to build a better one. I didn't keep records on you, Robert. I built a verifiable log of the truth. You just happened to be on the wrong side of it. He never replied. Sometimes at night, I walk the perimeter of our campus. The servers hum behind 3-foot thick walls. Every bit of data is sealed with my algorithm. It is unhackable, unbreakable, transparently secure. They say cryptography is about trust. You must trust the math. I learned early not to trust the people. My brother tried to forge a claim on my future, so I time-stamped his lies and broadcast them to the world. He tried to use the law as a weapon. I used the truth as a cryptographic key, and I used it to lock him out of my life forever. The revenge was not in his ruin. It was in my unassailable peace. He is in the past, a signed, sealed, and verified record of a mistake. I am in the future, writing the next line of code in a world of my own making, where the only authority is the integrity of the system. And my system is flawless.